So, guys, welcome to the first ever episode of Conversion Academy.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming.
It has.
We've been talking about this for a long time. Our company has evolved, and the reason I started Conversion Academy was to help our clients close more deals, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All of the loan officers and brokers that we work with, we want to help them convert on the phone. That's the entire point of this. So we have a really, really special guest. I had to pull some strings to get this guy here. His name is Cody Adams. I had to actually put this in my phone because the guy has so many accolades. That's actually ridiculous. So Cody's been in the mortgage industry for close to a decade. He's led over 600 loan officers in his career, has overseen and managed billions of dollars in mortgage transactions. He was the fastest to become a director and the fastest to become regional vice president during his time at the nation's largest lender. You guys might know it as Rocket Mortgage. His sales teams have shattered records for commissions year over year. He's won multiple leadership awards. Ladies and gentlemen, Cody Adams. And now, not to mention, the new CEO of Kinfolk Home Loans, which is probably going to be a lot of your competition, probably a thorn in your guys' side. But Cody, really happy to have you.
Hey
here.
man, look, what an introduction. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a journey. That's
Why don't you tell us about it? How did it start?
I will. I mean, the cool thing is that all that stuff's great, and I appreciate that. The reality of it is I haven't done shit in the mortgage brokerage space yet, and I cannot wait to transcend the industry, to disrupt the industry, to bring some new thinking into the industry, to break up some dogmatic legacy types of business and business models and business thinking that is of the brokerage world. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, man, I mean, I was a bartender hanging out in the industry, not doing much in 2013. I was about to go to chiropractic school, made a decision to not go there and get into mortgages. I found my way to Quicken Loans. A buddy of mine, loved him to death, referred me in, and the rest is history. I only banked for 11 months. Won some conversion awards, which is sweet for banking. Did pretty well, and then got right into leadership. And we stayed on the phone as leaders at Rocket, formerly known as Quicken Loans, which is sweet. Spent a long time there in the last 14 months of my career up until just recently was the regional vice president. So I led all of the remote world for a long time. So when we went remote, COVID, that whole thing happened, we were already at home. Which was sweet, led that for a while, and then led our newer folks that came into the industry, impacting culture, impacting sales, impacting the way that is that company and the way that it should be done. Love the company, but made a decision ultimately to leave and move on and start my own brokerage, which is Kinfolk Home Loans, and we're excited to get up and running, that's for sure.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations to that. And to our audience and all of my clients who, by the way, I adore.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
This guy, when we have our conversations about what's going on in the mortgage game and sales tactics, I mean, this guy knows his stuff. He knows, how many people at Quicken Loans in Arizona do I know? I probably know half of your roster over there.
Yeah.
And all of these guys have incredible things to say about Cody.
Thanks.
They respect him as a leader, and obviously his ability to close loans is something that is talked about amongst a lot of my network. So that's why I wanted him to be the first person to get here, because we have a lot of things to go over, Cody.
We do, yeah.
When we first started Lyncrest, we started out just like every other lead generation company. We'd give you a name and a phone number and say good luck. Right? What we quickly realized is, all right, we kind of can't rely on a lot of our clients to do the follow-up themselves. They're busy, right?
Yeah.
They live very hectic schedules. So we started doing follow-up, text message, voicemail, email. And then we added a component once we took it a step further and added a component to actually get on the phone and book the appointment for our loan officer and brokers. And now, we're taking it a step further with Conversion Academy, and we want to help a lot of our clients. So what I've done is I've actually gone into all of the support tickets that we have, a lot of the problems that our clients are having. And I'm going to ask you some questions about how to approach these calls.
Cool.
Right. So obviously, I think it's really important to educate loan officers on what to expect when you're getting into lead generation as a service. Right?
Yeah.
what is it considered a high intent lead versus a not, right? So for us, what we do, and to be very clear about our process, is we will create an ad that's about purchasing a home. So that lead will click on the ad about purchasing a home. Then they will move to the next step and take a 12 to 15 question survey. And then after that, they will also take the initiative to book an appointment with a loan officer, right? Yeah. So in the digital marketing world, you can't get more high intent than that.
Yeah.
Yet we still have, some customers that maybe don't understand, the possibilities of like how you get people high intent.
Yeah.
So, some of the common objections that we'll get is, hey, these people aren't ready to move right away, right?
Yeah.
Hey, the people that we speak to aren't ready to move right away. And, I have to kind of rein them in and almost hold up a mirror sometimes and say, hey, look, would you click on an ad, take a 12 to 15 question survey, and then book an appointment with a loan officer if you weren't ready to purchase a home, right? I know I wouldn't, right? I know I wouldn't.
Well,
and
I mean, if you're taking that many questions, you're looking to purchase a home, which you mainly deal in the purchase space. You're going to purchase a home. You might not just purchase it right now. So,
right,
we'll get into that. But I think I think of a few things. I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
Yeah.
And just to kind of piggyback off what you said, and then
Sure.
I want you to roll with
please.
it. When we're kind of like holding up a mirror, that's all we can do. We can say, hey, look, it's probably because, and a lot of people don't like to hear this, it's probably because you're not building enough rapport at the beginning of the call, right? Yeah. Because, listen, they went through all of this stuff, right, to get on the phone with you.
Yeah.
And I think there's two objections that we have with our appointment setters. There's two reasons why people don't want to get on the phone. Mm-hmm. They think, one, the phone call is going to take a really long time, so they don't want to get on the phone and schedule an appointment. Or they think that by getting on the phone with a loan officer or a mortgage broker means that they have to move tomorrow. So what they'll do is they'll go into the call and they'll be like, oh, listen, I was just searching around. I'm not ready to move right away. I'm not ready to. Yeah, because they are afraid of the commitment. They think that they are getting into some type of commitment, right?
Yeah.
So it's really, you have to really master. It's a delicate dance, right? And you have to master being able to put them at ease and building that trust. Because in order for somebody to buy from you, they have to like you, know who you are, and they have to trust you, right?
100%.
So how do you go about establishing that credibility at the beginning of the call? If somebody comes to you and says, oh, yeah, I was just shopping around, it's like, well, you know what they went through to get to you, right?
Yeah.
So you know better.
Yeah.
So how would you go about handling that call?
So my mind has gone so many different places. The first thing I want to say is sales is an art, not a science. Okay. So you have to be a Van Gogh. And there's tactics and so on and so forth that you're going to leverage and use. And it's a numbers game. You've heard that before and all this kind of thing. But it's an art. And you have to constantly be beating on your craft and getting better at this art form that is sales. The reason why I'm saying this is because like we talked a little bit about my story, you're really good at sales. Look, if you think you got it figured out and you're not trying to get good and you're not watching this Conversion Academy or you're not listening to podcasts, you're not doing all these things to get better, if you're like a tree, you're either growing or you're dying, right? You're failing in your identity and in your career that is sales. So that's number one. Number two, when you're talking about, obviously, as a business owner, maybe you have some frustrations with people saying, hey, this wasn't a good lead, or this person wasn't ready. Why'd you move? Why'd you even set this appointment, right? That's what you're talking about. Like, no business is perfect. You're constantly beating on your craft, getting better lead flow, better marketing, better ads, and your intention is there, right? So I think those two things just need to be said. Always beating on your craft. You're doing a damn good job. Your bankers and brokers, should need to do better. Everyone's trying to do better, so on and so forth. So those are things that come to my mind right off the bat. What I do want to talk about, though, is, one, from a lead gen standpoint, I don't think bankers and brokers, Alex, know how hard it is to actually get that lead from click to appointment.
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Like, I literally have sat in meetings, multiple meetings, behind-the-scene meetings. I know what type of technology it takes, what the ad creative looks like. I know what that looks like. I know how much money is being spent. And, to get to the right state, to the right time with the client, connect with the client, there's a lot that goes into it. So for brokers that are saying, like, look, man, this isn't a good lead, so on and so forth, again, just like you said, you got to look in the mirror. It's extreme ownership. But I think that I'd like to take a different approach with this and talk a little bit about mindset and talk a little bit about philosophy. I truly believe that it's not about you, bro. And what I mean by that is when your intention turns from yourself in trying to make a sale to just helping the client, which is the most important part.
Absolutely.
Your income, your business, your success grows tenfold. It's not about you, bro. So stop being so transactional and worrying simply just about this one sale, this one appointment, this one loan that you're trying to close. Like, why not be and live in the infinite game? And that's what I want to get to. The infinite game is there's no set time. There's no set of rules. It is, I'm trying to be your mortgage broker for life. I want you to write down your name and phone number. I want you to write down my name and phone number, and I want you to slap that shit on the fridge. And I want you to put it in your phone so that ultimately your friends and family use me. My job as a mortgage broker is not to help just you. It's to help your friends and family. It's to do such a damn good job and provide so much value to you in this purchase transaction or refi transaction, whatever side of the board you're on at that time, that you refer me to your friends and family so that I'm building a business. Dude, I still get phone calls. I banked in 2016 and 15, something like that. I still get phone calls from people that I wrote loans for 7 years ago, however long ago that was, 8 years ago, which is crazy. But again, that's because I'm playing the infinite game.
I love that.
My identity is being a mortgage broker. Look, for your mortgage brokers that they don't identify as a mortgage broker, as a salesperson, they're trying to be something else, or they're just in it for the money, like, get the fuck out of the game. I'm sorry, like, get out of the game. You're making it more diluted for the real players in the game that are in this for the long term, trying to help clients get into the American dream that is the home. Right. Like,
and you bring up a great point. And you know what? Listen, there's not many of them, right? There's not many people who typically it's some of the newer.
And I mean that with all due respect, by the way.
Yeah, of course. it's some of the newer loan officers will say, hey, this person isn't ready to move right away. It's like, well, first, you don't know everything that they've done to get there, right?
Sure.
So it's very easy to say that, and of course they're going to say that on the phone.
Yeah.
Marshall, right?
Yeah.
When
he's the man.
Marshall, CEO of Agave Home Loans, he did a mortgage on my house. He's my friend.
Yeah.
And I told him when I was ready to purchase a home, I said, hey, Marshall, I'm not ready to move right away.
Yeah.
I bought my house 2 weeks later. Right? I didn't want him pestering me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so it's really a defense mechanism. But the problem is when you're looking at the sale as transactional.
Yes.
When you're looking at the conversation as transactional, like, guys, listen, it doesn't matter how good of a salesman you are or you think you are. Chances are you're not going to one call close this guy on like a home.
First appointment.
You know what I mean? Like,
call.
this is a nurture game, right?
Yes.
And we can only do so much of the nurturing up until they speak to you. But it's about the nurturing after that's going to help you in the long game. So, for example, we've had people...
Especially in this market, by the way. Not
right,
like
100%.
This market that's changing. This market's very similar. The rates are different. But the market's very similar to 2018 when rates went from 3.99 to 5.5 overnight. And it was crazy. And lead flow went way down. And the marketplace is just, it is what it is. And rates went up. And consumer interest and demand for said refi or said purchase went down. Because it's like, dude... I don't want to pay 5.5%. I have a 3.5 anyway. So that's my.
No,
it's a unique market. It's a nurture market.
It's an absolute nurture market, and obviously, if you're not thinking about every sale as transactional, then you're going to have a lot of stuff in your back pocket for later. We have people who literally after their first month, they let's say they canceled, and then literally 6 months later, they're hitting us up because they want to sign up again because they're like, oh man, I ended up signing up like. I'm still closing deals from that 1 month. I just didn't close it in that first month. It's like, well, listen, it takes a while to close on a home. You're not necessarily going to close anything your first month. We have people who do, of course. A lot of people do, but a lot of people also don't. And people have to understand
it's a sales cycle.
It's a sales cycle, right?
Yeah.
But it's amazing to see because so many people, that have canceled with us will come back and they'll say, hey, I actually just closed a loan last week from your leads that you gave me, 6-7 months ago. I just closed it, and I've been closing a ton. Like, can we sign back up? I wish I didn't cancel because I would have this whole fruitful pipeline of just and we tell people all the time, listen, we are in the business of building long-term pipelines.
Long game.
That's why we don't do any refinances.
Infinite game.
Because when we're talking to loan officers and they want to do refinances, it's like, okay, so you want quick money.
Wham bam, thank you, man.
We're trying to build businesses.
Yeah.
And that's not really our forte, if you will. It's not the kind of client that we want either.
Yeah, and look,
to be honest,
I think, Alex, and one, look, if people are coming back, we've been boys for a long time. I don't know your business inside and out. If people are coming back, it's good social proof for you. That means that what your guys and gals are doing is the right thing, and ultimately you're providing great leads. That's just how it is. You look at a purchase. If you look historically over years and years of looking back, and it's gotten a lot faster over time. It's the fastest it's ever been from a loan to close, like start to finish. The sales cycle on a purchase, not but 3 or 4 years ago, was damn near 45 to 60 days, somewhere around that realm. Right. From, hey, hello, market, lead, pre-approval letter, go find a home, let's close on this home, let's close on this loan that's probably going to take 45 days from this lender, and then finally they're in the home 60 days later, 45 to 60 days later. Right. Now it's faster. There's things in the industry that, loans are closing in 4 days, clear to close. And it's crazy because it's a competitive market. What I'm trying to say is, in the purchase game, you got to be real with yourself. It's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a little bit more. These people are making, in a refi, I always say this, in a refi, they're going to refinance. It's a controversy. Refinance?
I say refinance.
Whatever. They're going to refinance. I don't know which one to say.
Robbie knows it's refinance. Yeah. Huh?
So they're going to. It just matters. All that matters is with who. Is it going to be with you, or is it going to be a competitor? In a purchase world, there might not. This might be their first home. Maybe it's their second. Maybe their spouse, significant other, business partner, whatever the case is. They're nervous about it. There's a lot of emotions to play in the purchase game, which even furthers the fact that you need to nurture and you need to build rapport and you need to play that infinite game that we're talking about. You know what I mean? You just got to be real with the sales cycle. I think that's important. The other thing is, too, just like you said, Marshall, great guy, wrote your loan 2 weeks. I'm not ready. Look, when you went to go buy those American Eagle jeans, I'm just kidding. Those aren't American Eagle. I can tell. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. But when you, I'm just playing. But when you went into the store, maybe you bought them online, but last time you went into a retail store to buy some clothes, you walk in, you know damn well you're going to buy some jeans that day.
Right.
And the store associate says, hey, Alex, how
can
I
never
help you?
want their help. No. No, I'm just looking around. I'm just looking around.
Yeah, dude. Even if it's
such a great point.
Even if it's a set appointment, if you go buy a car, what happens?
Oh,
you go on the lot. You know damn well you're going to buy that Tesla.
Right.
What do you say? Nah, I'm just looking. I'm checking out the Tesla. No, you're looking at it.
That is such a good. It's a great analogy.
Yeah,
it's a great analogy.
And even if your guys, your employees, your team members here at Lyncrest, they deal with that all the time. They push through. They set the appointment. Your job as a mortgage broker, as a sales professional in general, I don't give a shit if it's here, there, anywhere. Your job starts at the first no. It doesn't start when you clock the fuck in. It starts when you get the first no, the first smoke screen, the first question, the first sidestep, whatever it is. That's when your job starts.
That's amazing.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. I tell my salespeople the same thing. Hey, the sales starts when we start talking about the price. You get your first objection. That's when the sales starts.
So it's called an ignore pivot. Right. You go, oh, no problem. And you pivot onto your sales cycle, your sales platform, your whatever you use. You ignore it, you pivot on. Like, that's a tactic that you can use. The other thing that I really wanted to, when you and I were kind of chatting about this and talking about the Conversion Academy, we also got to understand that people are humans. So they're going to give you smoke screens, and they also have a life outside of this phone call, this appointment, this purchase transaction, so on and so forth. So, like, I always give this example when I'm talking about this in sales with all my loan officers or the leaders that I've led or whatever the case is. Like, we're human, and ultimately, you don't know what that person's going through. That person that your client or your employee, your team member, set an appointment. Then the mortgage broker goes to call that set appointment at 2:30 on a Tuesday. And that person answers and says, hey, I'm not ready right now. Now's not a good time. I got to go by. Hangs up. Then they get pissed at Alex, or they get pissed at your people.
Right.
Okay. You don't know the mortgage broker, nobody knows that client just had their spouse cheat on them and they walked in the day before.
Sure.
Or
life happens.
Life happens, right? Like, I'm just throwing random shit out there. That was kind of deep and weird, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's things that happen that ultimately you're not going to be able to, like, they're going to give you a smoke screen because they're going through some real things in life, man.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? So,
Absolutely.
So I think it's just realizing that we're human. You want to be the change that you want to see in the world. You want to give people a little bit of slack, push through that a little bit, be understanding, which we're going to talk through a little bit about initial objections and stuff like that and how I would handle them, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
But you got to understand where the client's coming from, give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt, but also understand that they're human. They don't want to talk to you either. Like, dude, people don't want to talk to a mortgage person.
No.
Like,
their most exciting part of the buying process is speaking to a realtor, right? They want to go. They want to look at homes. They want to go on Zillow. They want to look at all the cool homes.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted
Yeah.
to do, right? That's why we actually identify if every single lead is working with a real estate agent or not.
Yeah.
So that you can then leverage these leads for realtor relationships, right? Like, for example, I actually had a client who she complained and she said she goes, none of these leads are ready to purchase a home. I go, can you give me an example? She goes, well, these leads are bad. I go, can you give me an example? She goes, yeah. She goes, one of the people who I spoke to said they weren't even looking for a mortgage broker. They were looking for a realtor. I go, and you threw that lead out? Like, you got off the phone with her? It's like, yes.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Like, if she's looking for a realtor, obviously she's looking to purchase a home. Like, that to me, and again, listen, I'm not a mortgage broker.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been in sales since I was 16 years old. I'm 33. I was number 7 in the world at global sales and
You're an old girl, aren't you?
The fundamentals are the same for me. For me, like, that's a layup. Like,
yeah.
That's an opening to, like, get in the door, and she didn't recognize that. So and that's kind of like why I wanted to start this Conversion Academy is because listen, it's one thing to have your own company's training, which we can't account for, right? But we can teach them how to be good in our environment under our system, right?
Correct.
By people who are taking our leads and people who are actually using them. Like we have guys like Tyson Hilton in California who's been just absolutely crushing it. He does amazing, and it's because, you know, at the beginning of the call, he's not looking at it like, hey, I need to close this deal. He's like, hey, how can I help you?
How can I help you?
How can I help you? What are you trying to accomplish on this call? Like, tell me about your situation. Like, sincerity and authenticity, being genuine.
Yeah.
All that stuff seems like cupcake stuff. Well, you need to go through multiple years of sales, because I guarantee you all of your coaches or your trainers have been telling you this and you've been ignoring it because you think it's fluff, and it's not fluff. That stuff works.
It is a mindset switch and hack. Again, it's not about you, bro. If you're transactional and you're not thinking about the client and just helping the client, the other thing that's a mindset switch in sales in general is understanding that you are a financial professional, not just a mortgage loan officer or broker. And when you take that approach almost as a fiduciary, meaning the client's best interest at heart no matter what.
Right.
When you take that approach, your business 10Xs. Why? Because you might not be able to help the client right now. Maybe their FICO sucks. Maybe they don't have the cash to put down. Maybe they lost a little bit of wage from COVID. I don't know, whatever. You might not be able to help them right now, this call, this week, this transaction. But guess what? Your job is to, when they do think about purchasing a home, they think Cody Adams, Kinfolk Home Loans.
Right.
That's the point. If you can't help them right now, get them in a position as a financial professional, ultimately down the road to help them out.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? Like,
yep.
Like, be a financial pro. Don't just be a mortgage loan officer. Someone has a 560 FICO. You can't help them right now. Hey, guess what? Here's a credit service. Go get your credit score to 620, and I'll be here waiting for you. I can't wait to work with you.
Which, by the way, everybody who has below a 640 credit score, we redirect to credit repair, fix their credit, and bring it back to our clients once the credit is repaired, right? So, you know, those are things that we're trying to automate, but also, like, you know, being able to actually, like, voice that and say, like, hey, listen, not like, oh, you don't have good credit, sorry, I can't help you buy. It's, hey, you know, let me get you there, because listen, if you help somebody to move into a home, typically that person is an ambassador for life, right? Typically, they're always going to go through you. But if you fix their credit first and then help them move into a home, they are the most loyal fan possible.
And who do they send? They send your friends and family.
Of course.
The one thing that we're missing in the industry or in sales is that it's pretty simple when you look at it this way. We're just human beings talking to human beings about something that we have common interest in. Right. It's like a date. Like it's very simple. It's two people that both have a common interest, and we're human beings talking on the phone. It's not that scary, but you got to have some empathy and some care. Some empathy is underscored, underlined.
100%.
Again,
100%, and that's what I tell our salespeople too. You need to lead with empathy. Same with our support. You need to lead with empathy.
Yeah.
Empathy is literally like if you go into my office, you'll see a big sign that says empathy.
Yeah.
Right there.
Right above your head.
Yeah, right above my head.
Your smiling face.
Yeah. So listen, everybody thinks the CEO of Lyncrest Media is some heartless guy. No.
Heartless on Twitter.
But our goal is to help as many loan officers as we possibly can.
Yeah.
I don't look at it as, hey, I want the company to do X revenue. I look at it as, hey, I want to help X amount of loan officers and mortgage brokers be successful in their company.
100%, man. I agree.
So speaking of, helping our clients, which is really the main reason that we started Conversion Academy, what I want to do is I want to get successful mortgage brokers in these seats, and I want to find out exactly what your tactics are.
Yeah.
Before the call, on the call, the introduction, after the call, what type of objections you're seeing, how you overcome those objections. Yeah. And just some free game for people, right? How are we going to overcome these objections?
Free of charge.
And you guys are going to get a real treat from a guy who has done a lot of volume, has taught many, many people to be successful. Some of my friends are really, really successful mortgage brokers, and they're working at the same company. They all speak really highly of this guy, so this will be a treat for you guys.
Yeah, man. So I think, look, anything that's in my brain is just because I've been able to sit around awesome bankers. I think that osmosis and listening to great bankers, listening to great loan officers for almost a decade, that's where my shit comes from. It's all about modeling and modifying to your own kind of style, if that makes sense. But I think a few things. I think one, when you're specifically talking about, because look, my lead flow is coming from lower my bills to a bunch of different places. I'm not going to talk about them, but and including yours. And there's different ways that you need to approach different phone calls.
Right.
If it's a live hot transfer, you better be freaking ready. Like, you better not have your phone out, hanging out, chilling, whatever the case is. If you're getting ready for an appointment, like, look, man, when you set appointments, a firm appointment, or you get one from Lyncrest, just like a doctor's office, just like anything that you've ever had an appointment for in your entire freaking life, what happens in the morning of that appointment, Alex? You get maybe a text or maybe a phone call. Mm-hmm. So why aren't mortgage brokers or salespeople calling or texting their appointments as soon as they get in the office?
Right.
Like, that's a great tactic for people, and maybe you're doing it, maybe you're not, maybe you've got lost touch with it.
We have automated appointment reminders.
Right.
But of course,
a warm phone call?
Nothing is better than the actual person. And then we tell our salespeople too, hey, send out, if you're about to do a demo at the beginning of the day, send a text. Hey, this is Alex. Are we still good to go for 3 p.m.?
Yeah.
Like, just making it more personal is going to make them show up. Right.
Contact, hot voice. You're the person that I'm going to be hanging out with you from start to finish. I'm your guy, I'm your gal, that kind of thing. So I think that's an important tactic that I would leverage and use. From an objection standpoint, look, here's how analogies are a part of sales. So there's only 4, 5, or 6, and we can maybe dispute that realistically. Initial objections you're going to get on the beginning of the phone call. What are you going to get? You're going to get, I'm not looking, I need to wait.
I'm shopping around.
I don't have time. What else?
Not ready to move right now.
I'm not ready to move.
I was looking for in a year or like 9 months.
Okay, so so there's 3 buckets, in my opinion. There's 3 real objections, or whatever you want to call them. There's wait, think. You can bucket most of those in there. There's shopping, or I'm looking for the best broker, or I don't trust you. I don't know, whatever the case is. And then there's, I need to speak with someone else. I need to speak with my spouse before I pull my credit. I need to speak with my spouse before I need to speak with my financial advisor. I need to pray, whatever. So there's other person, shop, and wait and think. So if I told you that you need to have a system in place and a playbook in place for simply just 3 plays. That's all you need. You need 3 plays.
Right.
Like imagine walking in and you're a quarterback and you're like, hey, all you got to do, baby, remember these 3 plays and you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. What's up? You would like, okay, I'm in. I would be a quarterback. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you only need 3 plays. You only need 3 objection rebuttals or whatever the case is, or push throughs or whatever you want to call them. I call them ERPs. We'll talk about that in a second. But there's only a few things that you need to memorize and you need to study and you need to get damn good at. Because as a professional mortgage broker, loan officer, what have you, you should know your plays like the back of your hand. You should practice. You should record your voice. You should record yourself on your beautiful iPhone. You should talk to yourself. Dude, in 2014, I did not have Bluetooth in my car. I would rep out objections on my way home looking like a psycho probably because there's no Bluetooth back then. Well, there was, but I just didn't have it. I was talking to myself, giving myself random objections and coming up with my own playbook. And then I would write this stuff down, but it comes back to identity. Again, if you're not in this for the long game, if this isn't your desired profession, you don't view yourself as a loan or a financial professional, you're not going to do these things. But it takes reps. So for me, I designed something that I've leveraged and used for a long time. That's an ERP. And it is a 3-step system to overcome an initial objection. And that is understand, reply, and pivot back to your sale process. Understand, reply, pivot. That's it. Very simple. And we can go through each one.
What does that sound like?
So you give me an objection, I need to wait. I say, I hear you, Alex. I do. I hear you. I need to wait too. I need to think about it, whatever the case is. I totally understand. Here's the deal. The market's moving fast. We're in an unbelievably competitive marketplace right now. So here's what we're going to do. You and I are going to take 3 to 5 minutes. We're going to go through this short application, make sure that you have the best buying power out there so that ultimately you can get your family into the home you desire. With that being said, let's go ahead and start with your date of birth. Whatever the case is. I made that up on the fly. But again, it's understanding and letting the client know you heard them. Letting the client know that you heard them.
Really
There's
important.
so many bankers, brokers, whatever, they go right into the reply. You're not listening with the intent to respond. You're listening with the intent to understand, which is why it's you. You're listening. I want to hear you. So if you say something like, I hear you, Alex. I get it, man. I know I'm busy too, right? It's crazy. I know I was just looking when I bought my first house. I hear you. Totally get it. Then you reply. Right. So you got to have a series of understanding comments to let the client know that you understand them first. Then the second piece is replying relevantly. Dude, you can't if someone says I need to wait and then you're like, oh, but you say something about it's not even like wired in me. Someone says you want to wait and then you give them a busy reply. Like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. See what I'm saying? So you have to reply relevantly, but that also comes off the back of actively listening to what the objection actually fucking was.
Right, of course. You can't be relevant without listening.
Yeah, so understanding, replying relevantly, and then pivoting back to your sales process. Look, you as a sales professional are in the driver's seat 95% of the time, or you should be. If you ever feel like you're not in the driver's seat, you need to get back in the driver's seat. And how do you do that? You pivot. And you ask a question. You say, what's your date of birth? You say, how do you like your home? You say, what area of the home or what area of the city you're looking in?
Yeah, right.
You
So
say,
what are you looking for? 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom?
yeah.
Right?
Like, hey, have you picked out the furniture yet? Are you excited?
Exactly. The conversational stuff. And that's the stuff people want to talk about, like we talked about before, right?
Yes.
People, when they're looking to buy a home, they're on Zillow. They're not looking up mortgage brokers, man. They're looking up houses to buy.
Yes.
They're fantasizing about their dream home. That's always a good conversation topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many bedrooms are you looking for?
Yeah.
What town? I heard they got a great school system
in the
there.
deep.
I heard they got a great school
voice
system
like
there,
this.
right?
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah. So again, it's understanding what the client's saying, what their objection is. The other thing about the understanding part is high-level people understand the difference between a question and an objection, the smoke screen and the objection. They might just be asking a question, man. Like I lived in the refi world for a long time, and it was, well, what's your interest rate? That's a question. Is that an objection? Did they say your rate's too high?
Right.
No, that's an objection, right? The question is, what's your interest rate?
Right.
I have a 299 on my house. Just kidding. You don't reply like that, right? Because then you're going to piss people off. But you also have to understand, is it a question in a smoke screen or is it an actual objection? Like,
Right.
hey, dude, my house is on fire. I can't talk to you right now. Like, that's like, okay, no big deal. Let's reconvene. I'm going to reach out to you later. Is that okay? Can I reach out to you maybe tomorrow after your house stops burning down? I'm just kidding. But you got to know the difference. So that's the understand part. The reply part, relevantly, depending on those 3 categories, have a response for wait, have a response for shopping, and have a response for spouse or other person, and then pivot back to your sales process and get on track. And if you don't have a sales process, if you don't have a sales talk track, you need to develop one. And if you're a CEO of a company or a sales trainer or whoever's listening to this, develop one immediately. Like, I called mine the hype flow sheet, and it was bullet pointed of exactly what I wanted my loan officers to say and when.
Right.
And it broke down the phone call in a fashion where it flowed very well, hence the flow sheet. So I don't know, that's my initial objections. And look, man, like I said, your job starts at the first no. So you got to push through that stuff. And I just think that that's really important. You got to push through. Like, you got to be a dog, especially in this market that we're going into. You got to be a dog out there. Like, you're going to have a lot of mortgage brokers, a lot of loan officers that get into a different racket real quick.
Right.
Because they're not willing to push through that. And again, you're not pushing through. It's very easy, Alex, to push through when you have the client's best interest in mind. You know what's really hard when you feel salesy is when you're thinking about your commission. So if I have your best interest in mind and I'm pushing through and I'm like, yeah, no big deal. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to pull up a copy of your credit. We're going to look at that. We're going to talk about your income. We're going to talk about the property itself and what you're looking to buy. And we're going to talk about your assets and how much you have. So the next step is pulling up the property. What kind of property, how much you're looking for, so on and so forth. Like, pushing through their initial objection and keeping the call forward is what's needed. It's easy to do when you care about the client and you have their best interest in mind. It's really hard to do, again, when you're just worried about the sale and your commission. So, I don't know. Some thoughts around those things.
So, Cody.
Yeah.
I am looking to, create as much value as possible in these conversion academies, right?
Sure.
So, part of a segment that we're having here is I'm going to, for our guests, every loan officer and mortgage broker that I have on this show, I want them to talk about their actual phone call. I want to hear what it sounds like when Cody Adams is on the other end of that line.
Sure.
So how you intro the call and, take it away from there. I mean, take it as far as you can.
So let me just say this. Look, at the end of the day, you got to be prepared for the phone call.
Right.
And when the client comes on, I think it's unbelievably important. And I'll get into like some role play, but like you got to match their intensity. Like there's a ton of different personalities on the telephone, and we can go into this deeper in a different call or a different conversation, not call. There's the bull, the person that's right up, like getting after you a little bit, right? There's the lamb that's maybe a little bit more meek. You need to build a little bit more rapport with. There's the cheetah, in my opinion, that wants to keep up with the Joneses. There's the owl that says, give me a spreadsheet, right? Like, these are people that you have to match their intensity with based off of the initial first impression. So if a person comes in, I'm going to adjust a little bit depending on who I have on the other end of the telephone.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah, and there's people that don't like that. They'd just be you. I get that, but I found more success doing it this way.
Same.
So ultimately, that's one thing. You got to be prepared for the phone call. But look, it's a strong introduction. It is grabbing control of the phone call right away, and I'll show you what that looks like. It is getting a personal brand out there, because I want my client to respect me and trust me right off the rip. And I want them to grab a pen and paper to establish control. And then it's ultimately passing the mic back to them for them to talk about them, and for them to talk about ultimately what their desires are with the house, what their desires are with what type of loan they're looking for, with how much money, everything that's been on their mind. I'm going to give them a platform and dig deep on their goals and what they're looking for, and then ultimately pivot back to my process. So it sounds something like, hey, Alex, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's good. I appreciate you obviously answering on the appointment.
Yeah.
It's good. Appreciate it. Looks like we're looking to purchase a home out here in the great state of Arizona. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. And to be honest, man, I'm just kind of like shopping around.
Good.
I don't know if I'm ready to move right away. I saw an ad, clicked on it, took a survey.
That's okay.
And here I am.
That's okay. The good news is you got me on the phone. I encourage my clients to shop. I do. I hear you. I do. Good news is after this phone call, you'll probably go with me. Just as a foreshadow. Pretty good at what I do.
I love the confidence.
Do me a favor. Grab a pen and paper.
Okay.
Okay. And let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
It's always like you could find the paper, not the pen.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So write this down. My first name's Cody. My last name's Adams. Look, I've been doing this a long time, almost a decade. It's kind of crazy to say, right? So I've seen damn near every situation that's out there, Alex. Yours isn't going to surprise me, okay? I'm always going to be respectful of your situation, but I'm always going to keep it real with you. I'm always going to tell you exactly how it is. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to write down my personal cell phone number.
Wow.
480.
You just give that out?
Yeah. I'm available 7 days a week. I'm here for my clients. 480-544-6080. Comes right to me 7 days a week. Go and do me a favor. You have that piece of paper? Slap that on the fridge for me, okay? I'm going to be your mortgage guy for life. With that being said, I'm going to toss the mic to you. What are you looking to do with this purchase? Tell me everything that's on your mind. How big's the house? How big's the loan? Where are you looking? Here's the mic.
Holy shit. Let me just say that was amazing, Cody.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I love that introduction. I think it's, I immediately, even though this is role playing, I mean, I felt completely, I was like, wow, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
This guy knows what he's doing. I feel very comfortable with him. He's been a loan officer for 10 years, right? Telling him a little bit about it. And it wasn't braggadocious.
No.
It was, hey, like, come to Papa. Like, I want you to feel comfortable.
People
that was awesome.
Buy from people that are confident. And look, the cool thing is, and when you think about, you said trust, like, and respect.
Right.
You got to have 2 out of the 3 to make a sale most of the time. I would rather have my clients trust me and respect me. And the only way to do that now in this virtual world when everything's online or over the phone is if you tell the client who you are and where you've been. And it's just the truth. Back in the day, dude, or like even I come into your office and I see all these accolades, I know you're the real deal. Right. So I'm going to buy from you. You're the real deal. Well, people can't see into my office when I'm on the telephone, right? So I got to tell them a little bit about us. And people don't like that, but it's important for your clients to know who you are. So I think the availability piece is huge. Gaining the client's trust and respect by telling a little bit, it's called the personal brand, who I am, this is how long I've been in the industry, so on and so forth. And then tossing the mic to them, I think is important. And look, the last thing I'll say about like the beginning of the phone call is if you can make a client laugh the first 2 minutes of the call, game over.
Right.
So yeah, I'm a little, I felt your tone a little bit and I was a little bit of braggadocious or a little bit of hot and confident. Cool. Like clients like that. That might turn somebody off too.
Right.
I'm taking a gamble. It is what it is, right? It's an art, not a science. If it was a science, anybody can do it and wouldn't be paying as well. Let's put it that way.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was fantastic.
Thanks, man.
So, at that point, right,
yeah,
when they're telling you about, so let's go deeper, right?
Sure.
So, listen, I'm looking for a 5-bedroom.
Yeah. Sweet. You got a lot of kids?
I don't. I don't have any kids.
You just want a lot of rooms?
I have a dog.
Oh.
Yeah. I just want a lot of rooms. I want to keep up with the Joneses.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I'm a bachelor. Right?
Nice. A bachelor with 5 bedrooms.
Yeah. For the record, I'm not a bachelor. I have a lovely fiance.
You're not.
I love very much.
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah, I'm a bachelor, and
however,
I'm a bachelor. I'm looking for a home in Arizona.
Okay.
And the problem is that I'm getting beat out by all these cash up.
100%.
All these people paying cash up.
That's why you need me. So here's the deal: the way that I do my process, Alex, is simple. I'm very thorough, and I'm gonna make sure that your offer with me is gonna close the right way the first time, and it's gonna get out there quick, and it's gonna stand out amongst all offers. So I'm going to get you pre-approved. Pretty simple. I'm going to talk about your income. We're going to go through your assets. We will pull up a copy of credit report with you on the telephone. And we'll dig in a little bit more on exactly what you can afford. Cool? So with that being said, let's talk about income. What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm the CEO of a company called Lyncrest Media.
Oh, so you're self-employed. Sick, dude. I'm just kidding. Mortgage brokers will laugh at that. But I guess the point is, when we're like kind of dissecting this as we go along, one, you said 5 bedrooms. And dude, I've been a part of so many phone calls and I've listened to hours of tape. I've looked at hours of game film, listening, replaying, feedback. You would be, there's bankers that I worked with where there's dogs barking in the background.
Right, of course.
And the banker doesn't even say shit about the dogs barking in the background. Like, how can you not be like, hey, you got Yippy and Yappy back there. What kind of dogs you got?
Right. Just
like
making that
active
small
listening.
Talk.
Like listen to your client. I'm listening because I know this sounds bad, but you want quote unquote ammunition for later. I want to know, you want 5 bedrooms. Wow. Do you have a lot of kids? If that doesn't trigger that this person either has a lot of kids or they're just trying to be flashy, I don't know, right? So I want to talk about that as we go along. It's okay to get off track, but you pivot right back.
Absolutely.
So then you started talking, and I said, cool. Well, look, man, that's why you want to work with me. You said you have a problem. You're getting beat. Here, I'm your solution, right? You keep pivoting back to building value for the client, and then you do a strong foreshadow.
And you're doing it in such a natural way. And,
Yeah.
and a lot of the times, I'll tell our salespeople, I have to stop them. They'll get on the call and be like, hey, how are you? But don't ask that.
Hey,
you want to know why you don't ask that?
Yeah.
Because what's your answer? Good. You? Right? It's a 2-word answer. You're subconsciously on autopilot. It's the same thing as when you introduce yourself to somebody.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Alex.
That's so true.
When you tell me your name, I never remember it. Why? Because I'm so focused on introducing my name. So I tell people, rather than saying, how are you? Because you're triggering them to get in autopilot mode because they just say good, how are you? Because they said it 1,000 times. Rather than saying that, you should say, what have you been up to this week? Well, that requires a multiple word sentence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now they're actually engaging in conversation. They're not in autopilot mode, and they could actually have a conversation.
There's not controversy, but there's so many ways to look at that question. Hey, how are you in the beginning of the call? And that's okay to have different opinions.
Right.
I'm a believer in it. I think it's huge. And here's why. For me, and again, that's the beautiful thing about sales.
Right.
It's an art, dude.
Uh-huh.
So for me, and so there's 2 levels to it. Level 1, you shouldn't say it.
Right.
But there's levels to this shit, right? And anything in life. Level 1, you shouldn't say it. Why? Because that client, you give the control to the client, they're going to give an autopilot answer, and ultimately the call is going to go sideways or different.
Because they're going to be on autopilot.
If you're good, you can say, hey, how are you? You're going to get an answer, and I can reply based off that.
Right.
If they say, I'm all right, man. I'm like, doesn't sound like it, brother. What's going on?
Right.
Right? I want to hear that so I can have a conversation because I care about my freaking client.
Right.
So, and you could build off that. So I think that's important. You said strong introduction and making a good first impression's everything. It really is. Because again, you're not meeting face-to-face most of the time. If you're a broker and you do, great. But you got to make a good first impression. And imagine not introducing yourself in real life.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, how are you? Looks like we're buying a house out in Scottsdale. Is that right? Cool. Well, let's get right into it. No, dude. Like, that'd be so weird to introduce myself and not say, like, I'm Cody.
Right.
And say a little bit about myself. So I think there's a big miss with brokers and bankers not introducing themselves and getting right to the meat and potatoes and being, again, transactional and not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just really, really awkward.
Right.
The other thing that's really interesting and awkward, just in the beginning
They
of the
act
call.
like order takers.
Dude, I was just going to say that. So in the beginning of the phone call is, so imagine we're on a date and I'm just like, hey, Alex, how was your week?
Good.
What's your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Red.
What's your favorite clothing brand?
Oh my God, that's totally.
It's just so awkward, dude, because bankers, salespeople alike, they ask questions just to yield a response like they're fucking filling out an order rather than getting answers to elaborate. Now, if you're on a date and you say, how was your week?
Right.
It was good. Okay, what was so good about it? Tell me your favorite part about your week.
Yeah.
Cool. What's your favorite color? Blue? Mine's red. No shit. That's cool. We're the complete opposites. Where did you like the blue Power Ranger? Like, you go on conversation based off of the conversation or questions and answers that are given.
Right.
Like, the order taking thing is just, it blows me away, man. Like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time and your life in sales. Sorry, I digress. Mm-hmm. But anyways.
No, you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
I mean, and when I've heard some calls,
Yeah.
and some people will do that. Some people will do that. The experienced people don't, right? But when you're going through a certain amount of appointments a day, right, or a certain amount of phone calls a day, it's very, very easy to get in that mode, to get in that autopilot mode, right? It's like, I don't care about you because I have 99 other calls that I have to deal with today, and you might not be in the perfect situation.
Well,
right?
This is kind of what I'll leave people with. You're doing it. It all comes back to the client. And I'm not talking about, because your clients are brokers, me, but your clients are also the end result, which are the people you're setting appointments for.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Monetarily, I'm your client, but your client's there. My client's there, your client's there. You're doing a disservice to your client when you have 99 appointments and you're treating your clients like trash and speeding through things because maybe they don't qualify or maybe whatever the case is. So shift your focus back on the client and everything changes. Everything does. It's not about you. It's about the client. And you're doing a disservice. Don't be an order taker and actually like care about the human being on the other end of the phone. You know what I'm saying? You have a small snapshot of time with this human. Provide as much value as you possibly can, and ultimately you'll gain a client for life, in my opinion. So,
no, that's awesome, Cody. This has been absolutely amazing,
man, it's been cool.
dude. It's been awesome to have you here. I'm gonna utilize that a bunch.
Yeah,
guys. Cody, we've talked about, and I don't want to, this is a maybe. He might do some coaching calls for us.
Yeah.
So
sure.
Reach out to me and let me know if you're interested in getting coaching calls from Cody, because we would love to provide value to our clients in that way from a guy who been there, done that, has tons of experience, and obviously I'm sure if you've listened to kind of our role-playing session over here, you know he's the real deal. So let us know if you'd like Cody to coach. Give us a thumbs up, and we'd love to bring him on.
Yeah, you know what's cool about that, man? So a lot of people, I actually had an entrepreneur friend of mine saying, like, I'm doing stuff on my Instagram and so on and so forth. Why are you giving away so much free content, or why are you doing so much shit? And I told you this the other day, but I'm a firm believer in, and I heard this from somewhere and it resonated with me for 10 years now. I will give you my playbook and I'm still going to beat you with it.
Right? I love that.
That's it.
I love that.
So I'm going to give it, here you go, man. Everything that my knowledge, because look, everything I know was shared with me. It's not like I naturally came out of the womb. I'm some like salesperson. No, dude.
And you came from a really prestigious company, one of the biggest and the best.
Yeah. I had a lot of good training, a lot of good trainers, a lot of good people. But I that stands with me, man. I'll give you my playbook. I'm still going to beat you with it. And I haven't done shit in the broker world yet, and I'm super excited to get started. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Man, thank you. Thank you so much
dude.
for coming, bro.